He is rushing up there today.
Happy to have all
He
this
has a
here.
lot to say. He didn't talk long.
No, I'm not gonna hold you guys long, hopefully not. But I'm happy text said what he said. He said, sit up there, I'm happy. Why am I happy? Why should we be happy at Christmas time?
Why shouldn't we be happy?
We celebrate Jesus' birth,
Yep, always that.
which makes the reason why we're here.
Exactly. We should be what? We should be thankful. Why should we be thankful? Why? Because God gave his son so we could live in. He did. That is why this is what makes it so important. If for no other reason, we should be happy and thankful. That in itself is enough. Why is that enough in itself? Why is that so?
There's enough for everything.
Thank you. It is. There isn't anything in this life once we leave that is going with us except what?
Us.
Our
Our spirit.
spirit and the thing we've done for him. Our works when we get there for those things we will be rewarded for. But here's where I'm going. There are some times and we think, what? I've got problems. Nothing is going my way. I've got this going, I've got that going. It seems like nothing is going right. But I stand here before you today and say we should get and still be thankful. As I heard her teach this morning, I had some things I was going to do, but they got lost. I don't have them, and I feel like they got lost for a very reason. So we should be thankful, and here's why. It is that time of year. What do I mean by it being that time of year? There are still be folks who say, I've got this going, I've got that going, and things aren't going my way. There isn't anything that's going my way. What? Hey, what's her name? Who we got?
You have to ask my wife, not me, because I don't have a clue.
Okay.
But I want to say I was proud of the boys, because they didn't charge her a dime.
Gotcha.
Her name is Belle.
And here's why I bring up that. Here's why I ask. I did not know her name until she texted back. We spent 2 days with her, and as that happened, as it unfolded, he asked me what was her name. He asked me where was she from, and I don't know where she's from. I don't know her name, and I felt stupid. I said, how can I not know all the time that you were around her? How could you not have known? It wasn't important. Her name wasn't important. Where she was from, it wasn't important. But here's why I'm glad he asked those questions. Why didn't I know?
You didn't ask?
Why didn't I know? There is a scripture in here that says we are to so let our light shine so our Father in heaven what? Is glorified by our good works. See, here's where I'm going. Her name, it wasn't important. Here's what was important. Love. She got to see the power of the Lord. Here, I'm going to explain what happened. There are some folks here that don't know what happened. There were some folks in their car heading through Kroll, to Ward Houston. Hey, they hit a hog and they tore up their car. And it was late and it was dark. And they were women and hey, they didn't know anybody. And it was late and it was dark and they were hearing Kroll and they were stuck. They were stuck. They needed help. And along here comes these guys who tried to help, but they couldn't fix it. But they made a phone call. This guy made a phone call. And before it was all said and done, everybody pitched in. But here's where I'm going. It was late. They were tired. They had to have a place to stay. I didn't have very much cash, and they were just stuck. But here's where I'm going. Everything happened for their good. It worked for their good. They got to buy their car fixed, and they had a place to stay, and they got back home. Here's where I'm going. I'm going to flip that story. I spoke about that story this morning from her perspective, is what happened with her. But here's what happened with me. Just like the Lord has her, he has who as well? Here's what happened. If you really understand and watch what happened, we got to see a Christmas story unfold here in Crowell. That is the love of Christ. That is what he is about. That is what's supposed to happen. But here's why I was blessed, and you hear me say this so often frequently. We need to bless other folks. We need to be there for the people. I was blessed in this sense. Sometimes we think that we have problems, right? I've got this going, I've got that going, I've got to get this done. I have an instructor in this class, she's on me, and Lord, I'm never going to get all of this done. How will I get this done? After singing what happened, it made me stop and think for a second. Girl, you ought to be thankful. You don't have any problems. If you look around, you've got some, but how small are my problems? How big are somebody else's problems? Here's my point, though. What the Lord showed me was what, though? No matter how big they may seem, no matter how insurmountable they may appear, who has us? And he showed up. He took care of it. Now here's what's important. Just like I didn't recall her name until she sent a text. There was nobody else knew her name. That's what's going to happen with her. She's not going to remember our names. But who is she going to remember? The Lord. Okay, here's where I'm going. She wasn't by herself. She had her kids and her grandkids before she got back to where she was going. How many times will that story be retold over and over and over? Who's going to get them? Or if they won't remember him, they won't remember me, Wyatt, or Troy, or you. Your phone rang early that morning. She's not going to remember us, but she's going to remember him. Now, why is that so important? After me hearing her story, her husband had passed. Her brother is homesick. He's had some things happen. Here's what I heard her say over and over and over. I don't have anybody to call. There's nobody. Stop for a second. Think, guys. And she told me her story as he went in the stores. I heard more and more and more. And some very unfortunate things have happened to her, and it wasn't her fault. She's not to blame. Sometimes life just happens. And when life just happens, sometimes we feel just like she felt. But here's what it did for me. It made me what? I have been thankful. I am thankful. But it made me be what? Even more thankful. It says in here, no matter what our situation is, we should be thankful. Why should we be thankful? We have a God up above. We have a Savior. Like I said this morning, I'm going to say it again. If you're here and it's late, you're lost because often the sidewalks, they roll up when the sun go down. You can't get no help. Can't get no help. That's just how it is in a small town. But who shows up? Who does what he does? Here's my message this afternoon. As everything unfolded, as everything happened, that hall, she hid it. She was so far away from home and she didn't have very much money. She's trying to go get her grandkids. I've got two and I love them with all my heart. In fact, I got a phone call from mine today and what they want to know where I'm at and why I've not been down there. Paul, you've been gone a long time. I have been and I'm coming soon. But here's my point. She was doing the same thing that so many of us do. She loves somebody. She's trying to get to them. Things happen. Well, here's what happens to us in this world. It's life happens. Who can fix those things? Who do we have to fix those? Who's here for us? Who has us? Here's what that showed me. If the Lord has us here, if he had her here, he has us what? No matter where you are, no matter what you're going to do. What are the odds? what are the odds that she would have ran into some people who would have done what they done? I can tell you, 100%. How can you say that? Why do you say they're 100%? He's everywhere. He says, what? I will never leave you. That showed me what? Because me and him, we don't quit early. We quit around 10. I like to stay up to 12. Just do, or 1 or 2 sometimes. Don't quit early. That's just not what I do. Once I'm here, it needs to count. I need to get as much done because I don't know when I'm going to get back. But that night, I was tired. I said, let's go home. We quit at 10. Had we have stayed, we may not have sold. Here's where I'm going next. Doesn't matter what your need might be, how big it may seem, and sometimes it seems like we're not going to get there or it's not going to happen. That song that she chose, just trust and obey. That is so powerful. And then that song that somebody else chose, just have a little talk with Jesus. No matter how big it might seem, no matter what's happening, if we depend upon him, if our faith and trust in him, he has us. He has us. Because after I looked at that car, I said, oh boy, I am of no assistance at all to you. But I can call somebody. And I did. And he knew somebody. And before it's all said and done, it got fixed. But all of those people that were involved, they as well, they what? They know somebody. They're humble and they trust and they're led by who? They're led by him. That is why these things are so important. But here's what I want you to understand. As we help people, I was blessed in just seeing and knowing that, you know what? Some said, Daryl, that in itself is a Christmas story. He's showing you that just like he got her, he got you. Even when you don't understand. Even when it appears as if you're not going to get there. Even when, and I know when she thought all hope is lost. When we stopped and we saw her and we talked to her, I said, up the street is a motel. I said, you know, he'll make you a really good deal. And she said, well, we'll head inside and grab some food. So I went up there and saw him in the car. And I said, just up the street is a motel. She said, all right. She said, after we go inside, I said, if you don't have the money, I know some folks we can take care of. And she said, that's exactly it. I don't have the money. Here's where I'm going. Everything you have is not for you. Often some of the things you have been he gave them to you to help somebody else. Hey, to bless somebody else. Why do I say that? If you've ever really been somewhere and in need, because sometimes what you can have cash and people still won't take it. Sometimes you can be somewhere and have all the money in your pocket you need to pay for something, and folks won't take it. Because they don't know who you are. Can't trust them. But when he shows up, it makes all the difference in the world. Here's my message. I'm going to read up 3 verses and I'm going to try not to hold y'all long. But let me say this. It does not matter how big something might appear or how hard or how difficult it may seem. It is this time of year. What we should do it all year. But at this time of year especially, we need to be on alert for situations as such. Why do I say that? I went up the store that very next day and I was asked by somebody at the store. See, he's working. He's working all the time and overtime. Somebody at the store. How did that work out? Did y'all get that off? Now, it wasn't her. She wasn't saying anything bad or anything. But she just wanted to know how that all worked out. What had I said? Well, her car was messed up. We tried, but it was messed up so bad that I don't know how that worked out. I thought, well, that's not, I said, we got her fixed right up on the road, and she got home safe and sound. She should really, what she said after that happened, she hit it, hand the store and explained to me what happened. So she wanted to know how it wound up. It wound up what? A happy story. Why? Because he intervened through us. We humble ourselves and we obey by the Lord. That's what the world wants to hear. Why is that so important? Why is that so important the world hear about things like this? It lets them know what? This is real. It's happening. He has us. He's got them. If he's got her, she's not from here. He's got me as well. That's why this is so important. And I hear folks say that's not important. What is that's about? It's a story of what? It's a story of love, right? If we don't have love, what do we have?
Nothing.
And if we don't have unconditional love, what do we have? He's absolutely right. We don't have anything. We're not going to deserve it. We're not going to earn it. Sometimes things just happen. It's beyond our control. We can't do anything. And we find ourselves lost, but it's so good that we can what? Turn to somebody who has us, and he loves us unconditional. Here comes Darrell again. Oh, my goodness. But that's not what he says. I'm going to be there for him. I love him. I've got him. He has, just like he has Baal, he has us. I want to read a few scriptures. I'm going to let you guys go home because you're sick of me. I talk all the time. But let me say this. I am so happy the Lord does what he does. I'm so happy he handles things the way he does. Because if we can have that little talk with Jesus, if we can trust and obey, it's going to work out what? For whose good? For his good. If it works out for his good as well, it has worked out for whose good? Our good. That's the part so many folks miss. They want to know what's in this for me. He's working for your good. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd will give his life for his sheep. But a hireling who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, who sees the wolf, he does what? He leaves, he flees, and he runs. And the wolf does what? The sheep are scattered. The hireling flees because he is a hireling and does not care about the sheep. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. Satan is of this world. He's here to seek, to destroy, and kill. He does not love us. But who does? Who's here for us? Hey, the Lord. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known by my own. As the Father knows me, even so I know him, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And there are other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I will bring, and they will hear my voice. He came to save us all. Here's what happens because my needs are not being solved. Things aren't playing out how I would have it solved right now for Darrell today. Then I want to what? I get discouraged because I live in an instant world. I can heat up my food in a microwave. It just takes a few seconds. I can heat up everything I need in just a few seconds. We have been spoiled, right? That's what we want. I want it all right now. I want it to be done how I want it. If I can't get it done how I want it, I'll go somewhere else and eat. Right? That's how we are. But that's not how he is. Here's why he's not like that. He knows what is what for our good and what is best for us. Sometimes we have to wait, and sometimes we don't get what we ask for because that is not what is best for us. But if we'll wait, if we will be patient, if we're led by him, it's going to work out for our good. But not only is it going to work out for our good, it's going to work out for the people around us for their good as well. He came to what? Save. Here's what I have to understand. After I have been saved, sometimes here is what the Lord does. I'm going to go be here. I'm going to go be there. I'm going to do this because you're all right, girl. You're fine. And I'm happy he does that. Why do I say I'm happy he does it? There are times I look back on my life, there was things I was wanting, and I look back now and I say, I'm glad I didn't get that. I didn't that. But here's where I'm going, and I know you guys are tired and it's late, but here's where I'm going. He is the good shepherd. He's working for our good. This story that we saw unfold should let us know that he has us. Why do I know he has us? If he does that for her, he's going to do the same thing for us, right? Why do I know that he loves us? How? All the same, right? He doesn't love one any more than he loves the other one. He's not biased. He's working for all of our good. And it's just like a child. He knows what's good for us. My little granddaughter called and said, "Where you at, Papa? Papa's working for your good. Papa's got to make some money to buy your toys. I got to do this before I can come." She doesn't understand that. You should have been here, Papa. He's doing the same thing for us. He's working for our good. Often we don't understand it. It's not going to make sense. It will never make sense until we stand before him. But it doesn't have to make sense. We just have to trust and obey and be led by him. And once it's hard, what? Have a little talk with Jesus. But just leave it in his hands. Just trust and obey. And if the ones that were involved, I hope it drilled it home for us because it did for me. Man, how did she feel? How did she feel? As you stop and think, how did she feel? And here's what I'm happy. I heard him say something that stuck in my mind. He said, how did she make it there? She wasn't supposed to make it as far as she drove after it happened. And he's right. He's right. I looked at it right here. How did she make it from there to here? And when I got there, the car wasn't on. They had it off and trying to put it out. How did she make it from there to here? How you make it every day from where you are to where you're going. Him. It's just that simple. Oftentimes we want to make it about us, but it's not about us at all. It's him. We have to trust and obey. I'm going to pray and I'm going to let you guys go home because it's late, but it is that time of year as we go forth and forward. Let's spread the good news. What do we have to share? The unconditional love of Christ. The joy, that gift, if we do not grow weary in doing what he has asked of us, in due time we are going to what? We're going to reap a harvest. And he as well will have his will done. If we can just do what? Trust and obey. So as we go forth and forward, hey, this week, let's do what? Spread that one single message. This is a time of year that we need to share. Every opportunity, every chance we get, let's share the good news that we have. And let's be sure as kids, as older people, as young people, let's be sure that everybody that we are around understand what this time of year is about. It's about what? I'm your first grade school teacher. It's about what? I want to hear it. Unconditional love of God. That's what we want to go forth this year. Lord, as we go our way, I pray that each who has heard have heard from you. I pray, Lord, that each here they will stop and help lead, guide, and speak with someone on your behalf about this gift, Lord. All we have to do is accept this gift. In your name, and my prayer.